This episode of The Horror Show is brought to you by James Dean and Blake McDonald. Thank you guys so much. They donated over at patreon.com/IHateHorror. So if you could support monetarily, that's the best way to do it. And before we start this episode, just a couple things. As usual, we are doing Final Exam first, 1981. So those two things are, one, I had no surgery 2 days ago. And so I'm going to be a little stuffy. I might sound a little weird, and you might hear some sniffling. Fucking deal with it. Deal with it. And second...
Please keep that in.
And second, there is a scene in Final Exam, if you haven't watched it yet, there's spoilers. There's a scene where there is a, what would you want to call it? It's not real. It's a
fake
school shooting. Guys with guns come onto a school campus and fire guns at students. It is fake. I mean, not just in the sense that it's a fake movie. Obviously, it's fake, but like it is within the movie, it is a fake event. So just a heads up, just because of the sensitive nature of that, just be aware that that is in this movie, and we are going to talk about it. And yeah.
I feel like we already did.
Just now.
Pretty much the movie's over.
Okay. Well, that was Final Exam. Enjoy, everybody.
It was way more fun than watching Final Exam.
Just sitting around watching horror movies all fucking day.
Okay, I stopped paying attention in class. I was thinking about the adventures of Ash, about the misfortune of sitting kids at Crystal Lake. Became addicted straight away with the initial tape. God bless Betamax. VHS, holy like Amanda Kruger. I was introduced to genre flicks by Toby Hooper. I started craving more just like Larry the Looter. I collected VHS without commentary or bloopers. Slow computers, magazines, a bunch of stores. Spent my money on movies and begged my mom for more. I'd watch the boys kill those astro bastards 5 times a day or even more. I loved the gore. Lionel and Paquita combined their lonely hearts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Horror Show. Show dissects, mutilates, dismembers, and butchers all of your favorite and not so favorite horror movies and other horror-related events. I'm Sean.
I'm Joe.
So we're back to normal. No more live. Well, we're still not back to normal because my nose is shattered. I had surgery 2 days ago, deviated septum surgery. So, but we're here because we don't fucking quit.
That's right.
Goblins never quit. No days off. No days off for this guy. Even though Joe was like, don't do it. And I was like, fuck it. It's just Final Exam. But how could I say no to Final Exam? Although I was a little worried because I didn't want Final Exam. It was like I was going to go under on Wednesday. I was like really nervous about dying on the table. Like, wow, just from the anesthesia.
The last movie you watch,
right?
What a nightmare!
Exactly.
What a fucking nightmare.
I didn't watch it. That's why I waited to watch it. Was because I was like, really, I can't take that risk of Final Exam being the last movie I watched, like going out like. So I had to watch them all today, like really fast, really quickly. But I got them in. This was a pick by Alex Pounder, our homie Alex Pounder. Our next two picks are from like our longest running fans like ever. Alex Pounder and Matt Ryan is the next one. Matt Ryan, you may know from Hot Gospel.
Great beard.
Fantastic beard. Great hair. I mean, the guy's a total package, really. I wish I looked like that cool at any period in my life. And he's like 22 or something like that. He's like a kid. Some guys have all the luck. But anyway, Alex Pounder's probably pretty good looking too. I mean, I don't know him as well as Matt, but he seems like a genuine guy. He's from the South. I think he's from like Alabama or something. So let's give it up for Alex. Let's give it up for Alex, everyone. So we already gave you the warning about the gun violence in this one. There is a simulated, that was the word I was looking for, simulated school shooting in this film. So weird that like, you know how like you watch old movies now and it's like, wow, look at everyone just smokes on airplanes and shit. You know what I mean? This was like,
this had a school shooting and inappropriate relations between teacher and students.
Yeah, which like it was insane. It was insane. Like imagine if like a trailer dropped and it was like it just showed like a school shooting and like everyone just like laughing because it's a prank, and like you'd be like, that movie would be banned so fast. It was insane.
I wish this was banned. I hated this, if you couldn't tell.
Joe really didn't like it. 1981. The tagline is great. Tagline is, "Some may pass the test. God help the rest." I actually hate that tagline.
It sucks. It doesn't even make sense.
I hate that it rhymes. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Also, just want to address too real quick the Wishmaster episode. We got a lot of emails from Wishmaster fans saying that we got it wrong with the face because we were like, why did he cut off that guy's face and then turn into somebody completely different?
In the morgue?
Yeah.
Dude, do you know how mad Mike was during the recording?
That we said that?
Yeah, he was texting me while we were saying it.
Oh,
I
saying
read,
it
I read
wasn't
him
the
after.
guy's
Yeah,
face?
he was like, "You were totally wrong. You're embarrassing me."
That's, I mean, I guess I don't even care then about why he's cutting off people's faces.
Oh, it meant nothing to me. Even after I was corrected.
I mean, I was like, once I was corrected, I was like, oh, that's cool. But like, then who gives a shit? Like, that's dumb. Don't even include it. Just make him transform.
He's a fucking djinn. He can do what he wants.
Yeah. Why? Unless somebody wishes. Anyway, so let's get into something. So you did not like this movie at all.
No.
I kind of liked it for a while
When?
before it ended. But the end is fucking like one of the most asinine things I've ever seen in my
I
life.
completely agree. And then so's the beginning, and then nothing happens in the middle. So I don't.
All right, let's get into it. We get a big old March College midnight.
Well, I want to say that I tried a new. So we take notes when we record. I had a baby in my hand, so I had my wife take notes, like just my thoughts out loud. While she refused to do it on a computer, so she did it on her phone.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. I was like, it'll be so much easier if you just type it. She's like, no, because then I can't browse. Like, I don't know what her reason was. Like, she wanted to play an app while doing it.
So you're not
So
going to
these
have
notes are going to be incredible. Oh, I have notes.
I was hoping, because your wife, Joe's wife, is like, honestly, I'd probably like, she's like saintly. She's like, she will be a saint one day. Whatever that process is called. What's it called? Do you remember?
Canonization.
Canonization. She's going to be canonized. Because honestly, when you were telling me that, I was like, it would be so funny if Joe was swearing and she's like swapping out the swears for like, darn it. And like,
No, she translated it because I see one right here that says, Coach is a stupid asshole and so is Wild Man.
that's so funny.
Oh, she wouldn't write down tits. She's like, I'm not writing that. All right, boobs. And I said, what about cunt? And she's like, absolutely not.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, that's amazing. All right, we'll get to it. But the kids in this are like the most unlikable group of people in the history of the world.
That fucking nerd.
Radish.
I hate that kid so much.
Wait, do you know?
Big tattletale.
So here's something that your wife would have loved if you had looked it up at the Radish.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of acting credits under his belt. Big time producer. He's produced basically every Hallmark movie from like 95 to like present day. Every Christmas, all those Hallmark Christmas movies, he's the executive producer of.
That hated me even more.
And all I could think about
Ruining my life.
all I could think about was like, oh my God, Tina would like this movie like infinitely more if she knew that.
She rated this 1 star, so I've been like, just for my own shits and giggles, like I give stuff for ratings on Letterboxd, and I asked my wife what she gives because usually she'll give everything like a 5. She gave this a 1.
That's bad.
A 1.
Until she finds out this guy's.
It'll be like a 4.
Well,
Dude, that's exactly what she'll do. Well, yeah. Guess I can bump it up.
I love her. So we open up at March College at midnight. They make sure to specify that at Makeout Point. This scene doesn't mean anything to anybody.
It's the most action you're going to get for a while. So
You might as well suck it in. Okay. So we have a handsome middle-aged couple Frenching in the dark. Mm-hmm. They're about average ages of about 60 in this car, pretending to be college students. They hear some noises. Then the car starts moving. And while this is happening, the girl's like, I don't know. We should probably get out of here. And then like the car literally moves. And the guy's like,
And then he's like, it's probably just the quarterback. I would still get, even if I knew who it was, I would get out of the car.
I'd be, even
Fuck
if I
off.
knew it was the quarterback, because he's like, it's probably the guys, I would be out of the car so fast to beat somebody's ass. Be like, guys, about to get some tail.
Dude, leave me the fuck alone. Actually, I'm pretty sure our friends have done that.
Yeah, 100%, of course.
Like when we were in Narragansett.
Yes. Absolutely. Some guy jumps on the hood of the car, and I saw he shows his face in the window, and I was like, oh, that must not be him, because like it was so weird. Like his face is in the window, and it's like I can't explain it. So like they're in the back seat of the car, and like this guy like slides. Like as if he's coming over from the back of the car. So his face is upside down and he's like looking in the car and they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, that must be a dead body that he's like, because you saw the guy's face and it's not, it's just him. They're not afraid to show this guy's face at all.
Well, why would they be? Because you don't see him again.
Well, they
he
also
does nothing.
And we don't know who the fuck he is ever.
And
at any point.
ever.
At any point.
Not even when the credits roll.
So he slashes through the
That's like you were talking about Hush before, like how he doesn't need to be masked. That guy 100% doesn't need to be masked because nobody knows who he is.
No. So this guy cuts open the convertible top.
Yeah.
Pulls out the dude, stabs him to death. And that's it.
The only credit I'll give this guy is when he stabs, he stabs hard.
Except for the one scene where it's the slowest stabbing of all time. I forget which one.
But it's multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's resilient.
He's very resilient. This is an example of, to me, just a bad slasher. Like, they just didn't get it right. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, this period created so many slashers because of, like, Halloween and Friday the 13th and stuff. What year was Friday the 13th? 83? Oh, it was 80? I always get that fucked up. So this comes after it, obviously. And they just like didn't understand the formula right away, which is weird. Like
well, I mean, you know, Halloween invented the slasher,
Right,
and then there was Friday the 13th that like took it to a new level.
Right.
And then this is only a year after its theatrical release. There's no way they planned this well. Like it's just rushed.
No, it's totally rushed. And, you know, everyone tried to copy that whole like silent guy walking thing, except it's funny. Like you actually give all the most of the Friday the 13th more credit when you see something like this.
Oh,
because
definitely.
At least Jason, like even in the bad ones, like he never just like he did appear out of nowhere, but it like was logical. In this one, this guy will be like at the front of the house knocking, and then the person will run, and then he'll somehow be in like folded up in a chest in the back of the building, and then pop out and be like, "Gotcha!" Like it made no sense. Like, and it was like they were trying to do that formula of like Jason's everywhere but nowhere. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. But it wasn't that because this was a guy.
Movies like this are important, and sometimes we get criticized. They're like, you guys just don't like horror. That's not true, because I love when movies do it right, and that makes me hate movies like this even more. Because like The Burning, for instance, came out in 1981. That's a great slasher. The killer's great.
It's
perfect.
Works.
So there's no excuse for this to come out the same year. You can't be like, well, you guys just don't like it. Like, no. Like, this is a piece of shit.
This is a piece of shit.
They did it terribly.
This is a piece of shit. Also, I still like it.
I don't know. Why?
Because it's so stupid. It's so terrible. So, but it, like in a way that's like, it is, I don't know. We talk about it a lot now, but like one of my keys is like replay value now.
No, that's what I rate everything.
Yeah. And I don't think that falls into this category. So my rating would be low, but I don't like, because I don't think I would be like, I don't think I'd show this to anyone. Like, this isn't like you want to see a good, bad movie. This is like, I just wouldn't show them. I'd skip.
So what are you arguing?
I don't know. I'm just talking myself through this. Although some people hate it when you convince me, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm known to do. But I agree with the replay value, because I wouldn't be caught dead turning this on by myself. Like if I was just like, I'm going to watch something.
The ending is also like, oh man, the ending kills it. Okay, so that's the end of that. That couple's dead. Yeah. It just, we get some screaming and that's a wrap. We cut to Lanier College. You know, all the big schools, the major campuses, and they put them up there like we should like give a fuck. They could just wrote college 2.
Why were they even at different? Why did that opening scene have to be at a different college?
It didn't because, like, as we find out, it's just a setup to be like, there's a killer around here.
Right. It could have just been on the same campus. Just those two people been missing.
And it's playing the most absurd music. It's like the Bob Newhart music. The Newhart, not Bob Newhart show, the Newhart, the show, where it's just like, bum, 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 and it's.
Isn't that so obnoxious that you have to distinguish between the Bob Newhart show and the Newhart show, starring the same guy?
It is. And it's the same stupid face, same stupid straight face, just being like, whoa.
This is all in the kid's head.
I forgot that. We meet some young people having some of the most nightmarish conversations I've ever heard in a movie ever. It's so we have our nerd Radish, we got our party jock Wild Man, and we've got a yuppie, a classic 80s yuppie here for you. And he is so fucking insufferable. One of the main problems with the deaths taking so long to kick into this movie, I mean, besides it being an hour into the movie,
53 minutes to be exact,
was that this guy, I had to watch this guy for 53 minutes. And by the way, the rest of the movie is this guy explaining basically every fraternity tradition of all time.
Yes. And this movie develops like every one of its characters for some inexplicable reason. Because I don't give a shit about any of them.
No,
I've never seen a slasher movie that takes so much
weird.
time to develop their character.
It was so weird, and it was so oddly done. So this yuppie is like the worst fucking guy ever. They're walking out of school, and he's crying about his chemistry grade, and he's like, "Oh man." Well, first he just randomly drops. He's like, "What do I need chemistry for? I'm going into advertising." The girl's like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "But if I get an 82, if I don't get an 82, my parents will stop making payments on my car." She's like, "Oh, that's tough." He's like, "I'm going to have to walk." And she's like about to be like, "Hey man, it's okay." And he's like, "Listen, don't tell me quitters never win because I'm a winner." And you're like, you just want to pound this guy's fucking head in like so bad. Like I just wanted to hit him in that fucking head with a baseball bat so fucking hard. Oh, he was such a fucking weenie. And then, speaking of weenies, here comes Radish, who looks like he looked really familiar at first, but he wasn't anyone. But he really looks like the nerdy guy from The Simpsons.
Looks like his face should be on an anti-bullying campaign. like if you're making an argument for bullying, you just show Radish.
Yeah, Radish, because he is a nightmare too. Because all he wants to talk about is people being murdered. Like, he's got a fetish.
He does.
For he's like a sociopath guy. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He loves sociopaths. And he looks like the nerdy guy that John Lovitz does on The Simpsons. Like, oh, hello, Marge. Marge's boyfriend from high school.
Oh, fuck.
What's his name?
Morty?
It's something like that.
I'll look it up.
Yeah. And he's like, but you know, he fucking hates Homer because Homer got Marge, even though he was the better one. And like Marge's family liked him more. This guy looks exactly like him, like to a T. And he goes, "Hey, did you guys hear what happened over at March College?" And the yuppie's like, "What, another football recruiting scandal?" As if that's like lower class, like, which by the way, if you have a football recruiting scandal, you're a big school.
Artie Ziff.
This dude is Artie Ziff, 100%. So the yuppie's like, "What, another football recruiting scandal?" As if that's like poor people. And he's like, "Even better, a mass murderer, 2 kids snuffed at a lake."
Even better.
And then, of course, the yuppie's like, "That's not a mass murderer. That's barely anything."
Honestly, he's correct.
He is correct, because that was almost my joke.
What an insane thing
Yeah.
to fucking say.
Yeah, and the girl's like, "Oh, you two are bad." and like Artie Ziff is like, Radish is like, he's like, "Yeah, but they did it so gruesomely. It's actually pretty cool." Like, it is hands down one of the worst conversations.
Yes, and also we watched this murder. There's nothing cool or graphic about it.
And imagine like people in the town next to you that happened to. I would not be like, "Hey Joe, great news. There's a murderer on the loose."
You don't say.
He's miles from here. It's so ridiculous. So they go in, they start taking their chemistry test that we were just listening to these insufferable assholes talk about.
And the teacher is equally as insane.
Dude, everyone in this movie's insane. The teacher's got his shirt unbuttoned like down to his like belly button, and he's just like, "Hello, you wild kids." It's so weird. He's just full of sass. Like, it's just like, "Hey, you better not be cheating, or I'll be."
Well, he claims there's a sniper waiting, like in the trees to catch
you guys. Yeah.
And then Radish is like masturbating. He's like, "Oh, Charles Whitman was a sniper."
That's literally what happens. Like, he's like, Radish gets so horned up, and the teacher's like, "Yeah,
about a real life serial killer
yeah,
that sniped people from a tower in a college."
And the teacher's like, "That's right." It was so bizarre.
Oh, you've heard of him.
Oh, you know my joke. Oh, it was fucking insane. It was so fucking weird. The teacher ends up leaving. He's like, "I gotta go." He said, like, the aides are gonna watch you guys, whatever. And so he leaves to go have sex with a student in his office. He pulls down the blinds, and then the best line in this was, he's like trying to, like, they're just like doing, they're touching and kissing or whatever. And then that girl's like, "Don't you want to touch my firm flesh?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, baby." And she's like trying to get him to come over to her place tonight, or the art studio at night. And she's like, "That old sagging bag of bones, your wife, what? She must be 30 by now." I was like, get the fuck out of here. First of all, the teacher, the
teacher's like mid-60s.
Yeah, it blew my hair back when she said that, because I was like, what are you saying? Like, this is so weird. Either he is just a serial student fucker and his wife was an ex-student to be that age, because he was so much older than her.
Yeah.
Like, it was so weird. It was so fucking weird. And
but the weirdest part about this is it means nothing.
It does, because later on in the movie, there's a woman sitting in an art studio for like the last half of the movie that they just randomly cut to. And I was like, who the fuck is this woman? And then I realized at the end who it was. And I was like, what a long...
I will say what I just said. None of this matters.
That's true. We start getting ominous shots of a car driving around. Now, it's insane. So anyway, Radish and the jock, they get up, they leave, they finish their tests.
Big van.
Yeah, everyone boos Radish, and everyone cheers Wildman. He's like, "I don't give a shit about my test."
Who has his name on his back.
Back and front.
Yeah, in case he
just in case. I call him a jock because he's wearing a jersey that says Wildman, but honestly, he does not look like an athlete in any way. And we only find out he's an athlete because his coach in the next scene tackles him in the grass like a fucking lunatic. Wildman's just walking, and some guy, again, like, we're getting these like POV shots, and like a guy gets out of a car, because we just watched a car driving around. Guy gets out of a car and tackles fucking Wildman. You're like, what the fuck?
And he stands there the most like socially awkward way ever.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Wildman.
Hey, Wildman. Yeah, he wanted to fuck Wildman. It was so weird. And then, so that was a first swerve. Second swerve happens right now as another van pulls up, and out pop 4 guys in fucking ski masks with assault rifles. And they start shooting, mowing down students in the courtyard.
Yes.
And it is so fucking bizarre. In the 2017, seeing this, it was like, what the fuck is happening?
Well, not only that, based on what's going on, but this scene, the shooting lasts forever.
Forever.
Nobody is alarmed. There's people holding books and just like looking at each other and be like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
just like that. Nobody's running away.
No.
And after like the carnage, like there's people lying with blood and all that.
Yeah.
It's all it's all fake blood. The people are like, "Did you just see that?"
Yeah,
Like,
it was so weird. It was so fucking weird. Like, even the people that believed it were like, "Why? What are you guys doing?" It's like, "What are you doing? You're still here also." But they mow down, like, there's like, you get the sense that something's amiss, because we cut to the classroom where the yuppie's taking his test, and as soon as the bullets start going off and everyone starts, I shouldn't say everyone starts freaking out. People like mildly are like, "Excuse me, does that sound like gunfire to you?" And they like go look out the window and they're like, "Oh, why, yes, there's a gunfight outside." Like, they're not alarmed. They're not that alarmed. He takes that time to pull out a red pen and grade his own test fake, and then put a score on it of 82 and slip it in and leave. So you get the idea.
Hold on. Do you think so? That guy That kid thinks the professor will pull that out, like while he's grading him. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Like, oh, I must already did this.
yeah. That's not my
what,
handwriting.
that's what they're banking on.
yeah.
Oh, that's fucking even more stupid than I remember.
Of course it is. It's so dumb. But that's his plan, and I guess it kind of works. Although I guess we'll never find out. So the nerd Radish, we cut back to the van, and they're like picking up all the bodies that they just shot. So now you're like, okay, like you kind of have an idea of what's going on here, because who would pick up the corpses of like.
They're just picking up, putting them. I'm sorry, because my brain's going all.
Yeah.
Before all this happened, before even the test, we saw like ominous shots of like the cook. Remember, it went into like the kitchen, and the cook came out with like the garbage bag.
Yes.
And you like assume they had like body parts and stuff, but it didn't. It was just garbage, and that guy means nothing.
This movie had more. So I came up with a term for it because it was pissing me off so bad in this, because they were supposed to be red herrings, like POV red herrings. You'll get a handful of them in a normal slasher, like the classic, like, but then it's like a guy beating off in the bush to the girls in the, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
like The Burning, for example, the creep that's spying on the girl in the shower. Like, it's POV coming into the shower.
Right.
The girl screams. You think she's dead, and it's just a little weirdo beating his meat to her. But in this one, it is constant. It is throughout the course of the movie, and it's just non-killer. That's what I kept calling it this. It's just a bunch of non-killers doing non-killer things, like over and over.
Just so you mean people?
Yeah. Non-killers doing non-killer things. It's just like POV, 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 and you're like, oh my God. Oh, and it's like some lady.
Right.
It's just like, hello, how do you do? It's like, oh, good. And then that's it.
Yeah.
And it is till the end of the movie this happens. Like from beginning to end, they keep throwing it in, and it is not a red herring. It is annoying as fuck. So they're picking up the bodies. They throw them back into the van. Radish, using his high IQ, calls the police. Turns out it's a fraternity prank. Whoop, 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 whoop. The van pulls up in the dirt road, and they're all just drinking and being like, well, yeah, we did it.
What a prank.
We committed a felony. And that's fucking insane. And then it cuts back to school, and everyone's like, oh, those Gamma boys.
Well, they don't know that first.
Some of them do.
Some have a suspicion.
Yeah.
And then the cop shows up, and that cop's immediately like, I heard there was a shooting, but if there's not, you're fucking, you're fucked.
He's so mad. He's so mad at the nerd for calling in the cops, because the cop's like, well, where's the bodies, nerd?
Yeah. Like, the guy's like, there's a shooting. He's like, not in my town, there wasn't.
It was so weird. It was so fucking weird. He's so mad at Radish, and Radish is like, oh, but I saw it. And he's like, you didn't see shit.
He's like, senseless murders are a phenomenon. And then Wildman shows back up.
Wildman shows back
and
up.
Radish reveals that he has a license plate.
Yep. The cop's standing there. Radish is like, well, I have their license plate. And like, the Wildman's like tries to walk away. And the cop's like, suspicious. The cop's like, no. Everyone stays. He threatens everyone. And it's funny because everyone.
The cop calls in the license plate, and they immediately say who it belongs to.
And it's really weird. Oh, it's also really weird because everyone's against the cop.
Well, he's an asshole.
I guess, but like also like that's pretty fucking terrifying. Like I'd be like, even Radish is like, what a bozo. And I'm like, you know what I fucking called him? Like, yeah, he gets a license plate right away, and it's old man's car, old man Wildman's car, and yeah, the cop's pissed, but luckily the coach shows up. And he saves everyone's ass by just being like, hey, I remember when you burned down a building. And the cop's like, all right, that's enough. At the girl's house, we see a guy creeping around outside.
My wife threw in emojis when I said nerd.
That's so funny. That's so funny. So we go to the girl's house, or it's not even the girl's house. I guess it's just a dorm, but it looks like a house, but
yeah,
it's not. So it's this dorm. The girl's there, creepy guy outside, probably just another non-killer doing non-killer things. And then Radish shows up. Radish is in his room and she goes down there. The main girl, Courtney, goes down there. She goes to have a kind of like a tender moment over aspirin with Radish. She's like, I need some aspirin. Radish is like, you should be afraid of killers. It's like, oh, Radish, you're so good to me. And she shares how, she doesn't.
Radish has a lot of horror movie posters in his room. Did you notice?
Yeah, he does. He's an idiot. Also, you're right. There's so much backstory to this because it's insane. Like, I just realized this whole conversation is meant as a background between Lisa and Courtney. Courtney's our lead female. Lisa is
You can
one of the
almost
girls.
barely call them that.
Yeah, 100%. I even hesitated saying that because it's like, what? I don't even know why she's a lead besides that she makes it to the end.
Yeah.
And she's talking about this scene is like a 10-minute scene of her talking about this girl, Lisa, and how Lisa gets a free ride and how she's upset about it. Means nothing.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've never seen a movie develop every character that doesn't matter.
It's so weird. And it's like a real heart to heart. Like, it's not just like, hey man, Lisa gets a free ride and that's bullshit. It's like, well, like she's really pondering it.
Yes.
And fucking Radishes are there like, oh yeah, that's a pickle you're in. It's so crazy. And so as she leaves, she sees a shadowy figure in the window behind her. I've never seen a more clear figure of somebody in my life. Like a guy just standing there looking at her. And she like goes through the door and is like, hey, wait a minute. And goes back out to go look, but he's gone. Yeah, man. Yeah. So one of the other girls comes running into her bedroom saying she's been pinned by a boy. This is the 80s though. So were people pinning in the 80s still? You know what I was thinking?
Wait, what is pinning?
It's like when you go steady, you put a pin on them. Put a fucking pin on.
That was a thing?
Like back in Arthur Fonzarelli days. I don't think people did it in the 80s though. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Wait, did you just like walk up and put a pin on them?
No, I think
You
like
had,
you were
ask
dating and you'd be like, hey baby, do you want my pin?
Oh, okay. It's still stupid.
It's insane. But here, that's going to throw off my little thing I wrote down here. I was going to say, because I was looking at making pins for the horror show. I think I want people to start pinning people with the horror show pins.
I do not.
Pin your significant
I do
other.
not want this to happen.
People just stabbing each other. The horror show is asking people to stab other people that they find attractive.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Pinning. I don't know. That would have been cool. Meanwhile, in Radish's room, conference time, Four Eyes.
Did I ever tell you how much Jagenberg liked the nickname Four Eyes? He thinks it's the greatest insult of all time.
It's insane. Like if you pictured Jagenberg as like the beast guy from Revenge of the Nerds, it's like it's so accurate. Yeah. It's so accurate. Like not physically too, I guess a little bit, but really mentally was like, yeah, like Nerd and Four Eyes was like
all you had to do to get him going is be like, hey, look at that Four Eyes over there. Like, oh my God. Like, double over.
And much like the bullies.
And then he would just like hover behind them and be like, Four Eyes.
Right. Like he would start a fight based on the fact that somebody was a Four Eyes. I'm using air quotes there. Like the fact that you have glasses.
Gives you Four Eyes. So funny.
The fact that you wear glasses was reason enough for Jagenberg to try and fight you. Like,
should I message him right now?
Be like, I'm sitting next to a Four Eyes. He'd probably show up. No. Don't. We got to save that for something good. We got to save that for
our 200th episode.
Yeah. I would love to like have him on.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
You would.
Ask his take on Donald Trump.
Break her jaw.
Break all of our equipment and our bones. Leave us for dead. Oh man, isn't it so funny? Like somebody might one day just be like, "Hey, Jagerberg, like, I listen to this podcast. I think they're fucking talking about it."
That would be my dream come true.
Imagine, but like, just imagine you're him, like, and somebody, you're like, "Wait, what?" Like, you're in another state now.
I'm
like,
gonna find those motherfuckers.
And you listen to some podcast with two guys you probably don't even remember. And you're like, especially me, he definitely doesn't know who I am. He might remember you. But like two guys talking about you, like, and your exploits, like, that's got to be like mind numbing. Oh man, that is funny as shit. So, yeah, they try to they threaten Radish, but ultimately they just steal his keys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we have this like pledge kid that they've been harassing to steal tests for them as his pledge to the fraternity, Gary the pledge, and they're like, yeah, you're gonna go steal those tests, and Gary does it. And then we get another non-killer doing non-killer things. As Gary's pulling out the test, he walks away. We see POV. We think Gary's going to get it, and he doesn't. It's just the yuppie again, who's like, hey, man, you did a good job, but you're fucked. Because he pinned his girlfriend. And the rest of this movie is literally just like them explaining to us like fraternity traditions.
And then they tie him to a tree.
Because and we learn all about this. The fraternity, if you pin somebody, you get tied to a tree and you get tortured and they put ice in your balls and they spray you with shaving cream. It's so stupid. They tie him to the tree. The only good part about this scene is that Wildman, as they leave him.
Was the ice on their balls really the thing they said?
Yeah. They poured ice in his fucking underwear. But it doesn't matter because the only good part of this scene is that they sprayed shaving cream over him, and they say shaving cream, so don't get it fucking twisted. It's not whipped cream. They say shaving cream out loud. They spray him covered with shaving cream, and as they're leaving because they're leaving him tied to the tree alone. That's the thing, and his girlfriend has to come save him. That's the rule for the fraternity. As they're leaving, Wildman just smears the fucking shaving cream off his chest, his bare chest, and eats it. And you're like, what the fuck is clearly either A, forgot that it's supposed to be shaving cream in that scene and they actually used whipped cream, or he's just a maniac. Because later he does spray aerosol deodorant into his fucking mouth. And something tells me they didn't fake that. Why would they use
There's no way
why would they spend the money to fake that? They would never do that.
That's disgusting.
Dude,
I hate Wildman.
Dude, I hate Wildman almost as much as the yuppie. And when they team up together, that's when it's like ultimate jerk job mutts. It's the fucking worst. It's so fucking bad. And this guy's just tied to the tree. It's a fucking nightmare.
And then a cop shows up
While
he's tied to the tree, or the security guard. And he's like, can you get me down? And the security's like, oh, no, I'm not going to mess with tradition.
Yeah, that's tradition. Dude, this guy could die of hypothermia. They fucking put ice and sprayed him with a fucking fire extinguisher. It's so fucking insane. Wildman and Yuppie, though, they decide that they're going to steal some pills from the gym.
Yes.
In a weird turn of events, they're like, we need fucking pills. This Yuppie is the fucking pits. This movie is actually pretty bad itself. But what the Yuppie's like, hey man, don't you have pills in there? And Wildman's like, yeah. And they're like, he's like, but I don't want to get caught. And they're like, take the nerd's car. And he's like, oh, okay. Like, as if the car is gonna be like, who would see the fucking, because he's like, make a fucking mess of the place. And he's like, you got it. And who would think that Radish would ever go in and steal pills and trash the fucking gym locker room?
Nobody would.
He literally had a conversation at the beginning of this movie, the most lighthearted conversation with the coach ever, where they were like bonding. Like I was expecting the coach to be like, all right, nerd, clean up after us. Like we're your bosses. And then really it's like this like heartfelt moment where the coach is like, you're doing all right, Radish. Like you just do that inventory. Like it's like really weird. So Wildman decides he's going to go steal these pills for the frat, for the brothers.
Yeah.
For the brothers. Well, the pledge is still there. It's like midnight now. He's still tied to the fucking tree. He ain't going anywhere. He's freezing to death. His girlfriend is just getting word of this from a girl that like ran there like hours ago.
Yes.
And she's just getting there like, oh my God, come quick. Your boyfriend's tied to a tree. And it's like, that was 6 hours ago. Where have you been? So we kind of get this like dual thing where so the girl's like, okay, I'm going to go save him. Meanwhile, we cut back. The pledge is getting cut free. You think it's his girl, Janet. It is not Janet because he's walking around being like, hey, who did that? Who got me out of here, Janet? And then this guy just falls from a fucking tree and just starts stabbing him to death. It was crazy.
So many times he gets stabbed.
So many times. And you know what? I was like, all right, I'm fine with this now. Dude, he just falls from a tree
That's
like a
fine.
fucking dying cat.
This was the 53-minute mark, and that was the first kill since the opening scene.
Yeah. And then Janet shows up and she's like, hey, where are you? Hey, Janet, not fucking here, obviously. But then she sees a shadowy figure on a water tower about a mile away. And she's like, oh, Gary. And then follows it. And you know, like in, what was the one we did? The Mutilator, where he leaves like a trail of clothes. Yes. And it was like, it was good because he left like all the clothes. Like there was one sock, you know? This thing is like a mile away, and the only trail he left was one pair of pants. There was one pair of pants like halfway there, and she was like, oh, these are Gary's. Like, Gary must be doing well.
The Mutilator is so much better than this.
Oh my God, like hands down. She finds his shitty knockoff Adidas's too, I guess. She gets to the water tower, the lights start flashing, and she's like, I'm out of here. Like, that's what scared her, not the shadowy figure on the water tower. And she gets got. And this was now where it kind of lost me because not a cool kill scene. He just grabs her.
Off scene. It's
off camera.
Off screen, yeah.
I hate that.
Same.
I hate that more than anything. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, we're an hour in at this point, and we have about 2 deaths that we care about.
We have about
4
20
total.
minutes left.
4 total, 2 that we care about. And a shitload of kids. I mean, we know the people.
Okay,
fine. I mean, we know them intimately because they've told us everything about these fucking morons. So, at the gym, Wild Man's tearing shit apart. Just like really making a fucking mess. And all for about 7 pills.
Yes.
Dude, he finally finds them and you're like, oh, he's got the stash. And he opens, like 3 pills fall out. And he's like, oh yeah. He's grabbing all the fucking pills. It was fucking bananas. It was so fucking crazy. He's about to leave and then the scoreboard comes on. It's got 2 minutes on the clock. 2-minute drill. No jokes about that though. Like that's what fucking stunk too, man. If it's gonna stink, like give me some puns, give me some.
Have the killer make a joke, like a Die Hard joke.
Well, you see his fucking face, so why the fuck not?
Yeah.
My nose is getting stuffy. I can't blow it. It fucking drives me insane.
You sound like Rudolph when
my nose. She thinks I'm cute.
when what's that jerk coach?
I think it's Dixon. Donner.
That's not a rainbow. Donner? Is it Donner?
Dixon.
Yeah, he puts that shit on his nose.
Yeah. That movie's fucking weird.
Dixon's not a reindeer.
He's not? Donner and Ditson?
No. Donner and Dasher, Prancer.
Blitzen.
Blitzen.
That's who it is.
Dixon.
Yeah, so it's Blitzen, right? She thinks I'm cute.
I still don't think that's who it was.
I think it is. It's one of the main reindeer.
No, yeah. It's
okay.
Donner.
You think it's Donner?
Dasher.
Dancer. Prancer.
It's not Dancer.
But Clarice.
Comet?
It doesn't matter. That movie's fucking weird. Because Santa, his dad, and that coach are the biggest fucking assholes on the planet.
They are assholes.
They are so nasty. Like Santa's a fucking monster in that movie.
He's a prick.
He is like,
and
you're
Rudolph,
a disgusting little freak. Yeah. Like, it's
and
harsh.
then he realizes he can use them. He's like, yeah, I'll
he's still like,
now.
I guess. Like, you're exactly what I need, and I still don't want to use you. I still fucking hate your stinking guts, but I guess you can come. It was so fucking alarming. And then they're like, put this fucking cap on your nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
And Yukon Cornelius tries to cold-bloodedly murder the Bumble. And they both only survive because Bumble's bounced. Yeah. What a risk to take.
She thinks I'm cute.
It's Donner.
It is Donner. Okay, that's what I said.
Wait.
I'm kidding.
No, Donner's the dad.
Yeah.
Donner's the dad.
I'm telling you, it's Dixon. It's Blitzen.
It's not Blitzen. Hold on. I need to get to the bottom of this because it's going to piss me off.
Comet.
Yeah, okay. That's what I said.
I don't even know what we said. All right, so it's Coach Comet. He's like, well, put this on your nose, see?
That is kind of what he sounds like.
He does. And yeah, so he's like, put this on your nose.
Fat ass snowman comes in.
Fucking Burl Ives.
That's right. That's who it is.
Yeah. He's like,
So,
boy, Rudolph's in a real pickle. Yeah.
I can't bear to watch.
Those movies are fucking stupid as fuck.
What's the king's name? Moonraker, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Honestly, that whole Misfit Toys thing is really weird. Like, it's got a weird undercurrent of like nastiness to it. Just like the whole movie. It's just like that movie is like barely okay for children to watch. Like, the message is not that good. Like, it's like they spend the whole movie being like, yeah, all these freaks, we send them out to this fucking island. I hate you, Rudolph. Cover your fucking nose.
Be like us and get banished unless I can use you.
Yeah.
To help me.
Yeah. And like, yeah. You're useless and I fucking hate your guts. And then at the end, I guess they're like, well, I guess you're fine. You're all okay. But it's just at the end. Like, all of a sudden at the end, they're like, dude, they hate the fucking elf that wants to be a dentist.
I hate that elf.
I do too.
Fucking Hermie.
Oh, I want to be a dentist.
Operating on toys.
Not doing his job.
He's a terrible elf.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that. Because all he has to do is make toys.
Right.
Practice your dentistry on the side.
Exactly.
Or every other season there's not Christmas. All of a sudden it's the height of Christmas season. You're like, oh, I love pulling teeth. Fucking jerk job. All right, we should probably talk about this movie though. So what happens? So the killer gets Wild Man. Oh, but that Wild Man scene's great because Wild Man just runs at him because the spotlight turns on and the killer's just standing there, and Wild Man's like, ugh, and just runs full speed at him. And Wild Man's like a big dude. Well, I guess he's not a big dude, but he's the biggest dude we've got.
He is, yes.
And this guy just slaps the shit out of him. It's like backhanded chops and just like clotheslines and like just beats the fuck out of him. And then Chris Benoit's the fucking guy.
Oh my God.
Hanging him with a piece of gym equipment.
Come on.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I mean.
And time expires as Wild Man dies.
Yeah.
Being hung by a piece of gym equipment.
That it does. Jeez.
That's what happens.
No, I'm aware of both.
Also, this guy, this lummox, this big old killer, we get a look at his face like clear as day at this point, and you're like, oh, that's something. And he just looks like a fat version of like No Country for Old Men.
Anton Chigurh's character.
Yeah. He kind of looks like that guy, except just like really put on some weight and was just like flipped a coin, whatever he says. So now the yuppie's like, I'm gonna go find Wild Man. So he goes to the gym. Radish brings whiskey to Courtney's room in the meantime and is trying to be suave. This guy couldn't be suave if he wanted, if his life depended on it.
No, he could not.
He's such a nerd. And he walks in and he's like, I just always love drinking a little bit of Irish whiskey at the end of the semester. Dude, this guy gave me the douche chills. Like, I know guys like this. Like,
He's so upset
fucking loser.
that she didn't lock the door.
So upset. And because he's just obsessed with like,
Serial killer.
yeah, and because he's a sociopath. And he's like,
Yes.
hey, you know what I could do? I mean, you know what somebody could do with an open door? She's like, no. And then he leaves, but then knocks on the other door. And she opens it and she's like, oh, it's Radish again. And he's like, you have a pretty face too. I was like, this is getting fucking scary. It was really weird. But the yuppie ends up going to the gym. He finds Wild Man stuffed into a fucking locker.
Yeah.
Just happens to find him. He also found pills on the ground, but was not alarmed at all. Like he was walking in the gym. He's like, hey, there's all those pills that I sent this guy to go get scattered across the floor. But let me go look. He's also like the least panic guy ever once he finds Wild Man.
Yes.
Wild Man is folded up into a locker. And he's like, oh, this is, and he runs away, but he's just like, better get out of here. Nothing really. He locks himself into a boiler room. Killer tries to get in. This was so asinine, this scene. This is when I started to like really give up on the movie. Killer's locked outside. He's banging on the door to get in. He can't get into this boiler room building. The yuppie's walking around like trying to find a place to get out. And he finds like this side room and he goes into it. And the fucking killer comes out of a fucking barrel in a side room in a building he was just locked out of. That is some Houdini level shit. Like, yes. And that is something where it's like, well, Jason does it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they were writing it and they were like, well, you know, like.
Yeah, but at this point, Jason didn't exist.
Doesn't even exist. Yeah. So what are they basing it on? Are they just stupid? They just don't know what to do.
Yes.
That shit's all kind of logistically, it always made sense to an extent. You know what I mean?
Oh, it definitely did.
This guy was in a fucking barrel in a building he was just locked out.
Yeah, I don't know why you're trying to connect this to pulling to another movie.
I don't know why either.
They're just stupid.
I don't know why either.
There's nothing that's right.
Yeah. It makes no sense. So that guy gets got because this guy jumps out of a fucking barrel, just fucking kills him. Now Radish is at the gym. Everyone's just coming to the gym. This guy just had to wait at the fucking gym.
No way Radish was ever going to that gym.
No. Shades of Watergate. As the doors open. Okay, Radish, you fucking turd. Fucking idiot.
Shades of Water.
He's another guy that looks at the pills on the ground and is like, huh. And just keeps walking.
Shades of Iran-Contra there.
Shades of the Bay of Pigs. He goes in and he starts he's decided that he's going to do his inventory and cleaning tonight. And he's like, boy, these jocks are a bunch of pigs. And then he goes in and then the yuppie just falls out of the fucking he's another guy that just got stuffed in a locker and he falls out. And the kid, again, like, no one is that afraid of seeing a dead body. Can you imagine seeing a dead body or a dead body falling on you?
Right.
You fucking scream at the time. I would be fucking dead. I would just die, paralyzed in fear. But he goes and he calls the sheriff. And in one of the most fucking abysmal scenes in movie history, fucking abysmal, we have to listen to a one-sided phone conversation with Radish talking to a police officer. You don't say. You don't say. And the sheriff, he's like, what do you mean you're not going to come? What? No, this isn't a prank like last time. So, like, the sheriff is refusing to fucking come. He's like, there's a dead body here. And the sheriff's like, no. And Radish is like, fine, I'll take charge myself then. Fucking nightmare. I can't think of anything worse than Radish taking charge of a criminal investigation.
Especially since he gets pulled through a door in the next scene.
Especially because he, like, beats off to people dying. He would never stop it. Radish runs out because he's now vigilante Radish. Rogue Radish. Run, Radish, run. Radish is banging on Courtney's door. It's the first room he goes to. Banging on Courtney's door. Let me in. The killer is now here, and he just breaks through the door, grabs Radish by the fucking face, like literally by the face, and pulls him through. The next time we see Radish, he will be hanging through that door.
Yes.
Bloody, as Courtney walks by and is like...
She's like, oh, stop it, you little jokester.
Dude. Courtney finds Radish's body, and she talks to his body for like 10 minutes before freaking out. She's like, come on, Radish, wake up. Wake up, Radish. Radish, you're funny. You're a funny guy, Radish.
She is talking to him for way too long before even, like, all you'd have to say is like 2 words and be like, maybe he's not joking.
He's not blinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's zero movement and there's blood everywhere. Also, he broke my door. Would this guy break my fucking door for a prank?
For a prank, just with his head through it?
With his head through it, looking dead as fuck. And then she finally freaks out and she's like, oh my God. And she runs away. Meanwhile, by the way, that girl that's banging the teacher has been sitting in the art room for the last half of this movie. They would just randomly cut to her painting and playing piano.
Waiting for the guy to show up.
The professor to show up. And at this point, I was like, who the fuck is this girl? I honestly had no idea. I was like, who is she? I couldn't figure it out.
Also, I hate that movie trope where, like, you're expecting someone and you just don't turn around to see them. Like, I don't care, even if it's my wife in my own house.
I'm turning around.
I'm turning around when somebody comes in the room.
Yeah, of course. It's so fucking awesome. I love that trope. It's so terrible. And that's...
I've been waiting for you.
She like undresses herself and then puts on another robe and lays on the couch facing not the door.
Also, that's the first time you have any nudity in a slasher film, and there's like 5 minutes left, and it lasts for like 2 seconds.
It's 2 seconds. It's a nightmare. It's so bad. Yeah. So what happens? Oh, Courtney goes to find her. I don't know why. Courtney's like, I know where she is. It's that girl that she's jealous of. Oh, yeah. And we should say the killer kills her.
Of course.
The piano
The
girl.
person that comes in is not the professor.
Right.
It's him.
It's him. And that's the one where he stabs her so slowly. It's almost like the phone dial from Idle Hands. Like, you could not even pierce skin going at the speed he is with the knife. It's like, like it's so bizarre.
And again, I just want to point out how little this makes sense. Like his motivation.
Well, we don't know
being
anything
there.
about him.
Why these people?
And honestly, I didn't even think about it until after when Joe said that to me. When I was like, "That movie was the end." I was like, "Joe, the ending is so fucking bad, like really fucking bad." And Joe was like, "Well, the killer, we don't know who he is, we don't know why he's there, and we don't know why he's doing anything." I was like, "Oh my god!" They never once try to explain this guy ever. There's no like he was a kid that didn't have sex and now he's mad. Like.
And it's honestly okay if you have a killer without like a real motivation. That kind of adds to like the terror of it. Like just some guy wants to fuck your shit up. But like everything is just such a mumble jumble bullshit. Like why this college? Why this week? Like
is he supernatural? Is he not? Like it was so weird. Like yeah, why the college? Why this week? Nothing. There's nothing.
Why exam week?
Why anything? Why one college and now another college?
That's what I'm saying. Like. That's why it makes no sense. The movie's called Final Exam. It's about exam week, but the
not a teacher.
To do. Yeah,
like how is it possible? Like you literally find out zero about this guy.
That's why I hate it.
It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy, actually. So Courtney goes in to find the girl, whatever her name is. I forget her fucking name.
My notes are
Kelly.
slowest stabs ever too.
Yeah, it's insane. But he finds the killer. She finds the killer. She walks in on the killer, who's just standing there holding a knife. This killer has hid from everyone somehow, but this time he's like, "Oh, hey, what up, girl?" Like this is the only time he's like not cat-like reflex ninja. And now all of a sudden he turns into the biggest, slowest fucking lummox of all time.
Yes, he does.
Even though prior he's been like the super stealthy guy that like can like hide and kill you.
Yes.
And by the way, we see the killer's face like 100% by this point. Like he's just walking around. Like you see his fucking face, and they still don't tell you who he is. Courtney subdues this guy,
and the victims don't recognize him either.
No,
the girl doesn't know. Who
like there's never like, "Oh my god, it's you!"
Right.
Courtney hits him in the head with a frying pan, shoves him into a freezer. He just walks out the other freezer door.
That was so funny.
Fucking regular Scooby-Doo bit. Yeah, it's so weird. And again, he's like lost all ninja ability. So like, he's not like, he just like walks out of the freezer and is like, "What up?" Like he's just standing there. Like, and she's like a foot away from him. Like he could grab her, and instead he doesn't. He just doing the Michael Myers thing. Courtney ends up going to this tall ass building, and they focus on the upstairs window. So I was like, "Oh, they're really going to rip off Halloween." Mm-hmm. Like that's all I could think of. Like I was like
fall through it.
Yeah, like I was like, because they focused on that window for like 30 seconds, and I was like, "Okay, I got it. Like that's fine. Whatever. You're whatever." That's not what happens though. That's not what happens. We get a 5-minute scene of them running up the fucking stairs, which takes forever for both of them. Both people takes them forever. Courtney gets up there. She looks out the window. Meanwhile, the fucking coach pulls up outside the building in the middle of the night because they were going hunting, he'd said earlier. And he's just honking and he's like yelling for anyone to come hunting with him. He's like, "Who wants to go hunting?" 4 a.m. on a campus. Courtney ends up being able to get to the window though and be like, "Help me." So he runs up the fucking flight of stairs, somehow beats the killer there. Like the killer's about to get her, and then he walks in. The most insane thing I've ever seen in a fucking movie.
The bow and arrow?
Yeah. So this guy's got a bow and arrow.
He's going hunting.
He's going hunting, and he loves hunting with bows and arrows, as we learned earlier. Shoots the bow and arrow at the fucking guy. You're like, okay, this is awesome. He's going to save the day. I actually didn't mind the coach. The coach was like, honestly, the only character that wasn't a piece of shit. So shoots the bow and arrow, and the fucking guy catches it. The killer catches it with his bare fucking hands in one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen. I could not fucking believe it. And then the coach is like, "You motherfucker," and starts walking up the stairs like to like approach him, and then the killer's like, "You son of a bitch," and starts walking down the stairs, and then the killer just stabs him with his own bow.
Yeah. Or arrow.
It was insane. And by the way, hey coach, you have a quiver of bow and arrows.
I know.
With his hands full, why don't you just keep
I would
shooting?
love this movie if he caught all of them. Just keep catching them.
It was insane. Instead, he puts down his weapon and he's like, "You motherfucker." And the killer's walking down with a giant knife in one hand and a fucking bow in the other. It's so fucking outrageous. Also, you know who else the killer looks like? Michael Showalter from Wet Hot American Summer in the later years. He looks just like him.
He does.
Coach is dead. Right?
Yep.
The killer goes back to kill Courtney, who's just there, and his foot falls through a board.
Happens all the time.
His foot falls through a board, and she just starts pounding on him with a 2x4. It's so... It happens for so long, the sound started to get irritating to me because it was clearly a foam board and they didn't change the sound effect. So it was just like over and over again. She's hitting him so many times. And his foot fell through like the platform. Like they were on a platform, like a totally fine platform. And somehow she's whacked him into the middle and he's just dangling from a fucking like pole, like over this giant opening in the clock tower that would fall all the way down to the bottom floor to his certain death. And that's exactly what happens. She just hits him and he falls. And then she goes down and he moves a little bit. So she stabs the fucking shit out of him with his own knife.
And then she goes and sits outside.
And then she walks outside. She doesn't even look like, she's not even like the Jamie Lee, like fucking exhaustion, covered in blood. Like, I can't believe what I've been through. She's just like mildly tired and her hands are like a little bloody. She's not really in that worse of wear. Like she's just kind of like, and she's just like rocking back and forth on the.
And we watch her do this for like 10 minutes.
Did you watch the whole credits?
I gave up about halfway through.
Yeah, no, it's done.
Is there a scene after?
No. Because I was like, something has to happen. And then I was like, that would be revolutionary in 81. Like during, because it was like the credit, like it was one of those credits where the film is still moving behind it.
Yeah.
So she's like rocking back and forth, like waiting for help. And the credits are rolling over her while it's still moving. And I was like, that would be revolutionary if the fucking killer comes out. They stop the credits, killer comes out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But that's not what happened.
Okay.
This is the end. The guy's dead. Because he was a normal dude.
Yes. So anticlimactic. So stupid.
And the even better part, the Newhart music kicks in too while she's rocking. So it's like, ba, 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 ba.
So you said multiple times that
No,
you
I don't
like
like
this.
it. I don't
Okay.
like it. It's not the kills. I don't know, man. I'm just like a sucker for that 80s cheese, but this.
But there was like no gore in it.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad.
It's dull.
It was dull. It was very dull. But I enjoyed talking about it. Again, this like goes back to like the whole idle hands thing that I've talked about recently, which is like I said I didn't like idle hands, but it was more because it was hard for me to talk about. Like it was an okay movie. Mm-hmm. So like I don't have anything to say about okay movies. Like, yeah, it was good. Like, what am I going to do? I can't make fun of everything like it because it's actually kind of good. Whereas Reanimator was so good that I could be like, that was like I could suck its dick. You know what I mean? Like what I'm saying, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm filleting Reanimator because it was so good and so over the top. Like I have stuff to talk about, but there's that middle ground of like, oh, it's all right.
Yeah.
Final Exam is kind of the opposite of that, where it's like, so I said Idle Hands was bad. I said I didn't like Idle Hands, but I actually do like Idle Hands. It just wasn't, I didn't like it for the show. So that it gives me this like negative interpretation where I'm like, fuck that movie. Cause like now all I think about is the show. Whereas this movie is fucking terrible. Mm-hmm. I hate this movie so much, but I will love it because I was so happy to talk about it on the show.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I understand.
No, I know you do not have
love
that.
it at
You
all.
do not have that outlook on movies, and God bless you for that. But, yeah, so that's it, man. That's Final Exam.
Yeah.
That was something.
It was a doozy.
That was a doozy. That was great. I'm glad it wasn't the last movie I ever had to watch. So that was good. Next,
Remember that picture you sent me when you were getting on the plane? You said if it's the last thing you ever send, that's what you want.
Oh yeah,
The alligator.
oh yeah.
Genius.
My wife would have been so mad. The last
I laughed
picture.
about that for like hours. Because there's only one person in the world that would understand that reference.
100%.
Not even the people involved would understand that reference.
They'd be like, "What the fuck is this?" There's this video me and Joe watch. It's like an old what video?
Young soldiers, alligator.
Yeah, yeah. And it's their Bloods or Crips?
They're Bloods.
They're Bloods. That's what I thought. It's a Blood rap group. They're affiliated with the Blood gangs. And in the video, the song is called "The Alligator." So they sing about alligators. And there is an alligator in the music video. And at the end of the fucking video, Joe sent it to me. I've never laughed this hard in my life. Like, I never laughed this hard ever. At the end of the video, it just like fades to black and then fades back in. And there's just an alligator
With sunglasses.
with sunglasses on
and the blood bandana.
blood bandana wrapped around its head and mouth. It's the most unbelievable thing. And then it just fades back out.
And the best part is, none of them. First of all, there's no way they had a license to handle that. And there's none of them that were.
A caretaker.
Yes.
No one knew how to feed that thing. Like, they were like, "Feed it a cat." I don't know. Like, they must have been like, "I don't know what to
Who
feed
put
it."
that fucking bandana on it? What a risk.
Dude, what a risk. Fucking Big
Y.
Big Y.
Lying on it with
Big Y is like literally rolling in the grass with an alligator. This rapper is like, the alligator is there and its mouth is not sealed. Like, its mouth is not sealed.
No.
And Big Y is like literally on his back. And Big Y is a big man. There's no way he's getting out of harm's way fast enough if this alligator was like, womp.
I know.
And he's just rolling around in the grass with the alligator at one point in the video. It's so ridiculous.
Greatest
It's,
video of all time.
it really is. It really is. So I sent Joe a picture of a screenshot of the alligator's face saying, like, "If I die, this is the last picture I want to send."
It's like right when you were taking off.
Yeah, I was like leaving for Dallas. So that was a final exam. and a review of the alligator music video. So thanks for listening.
Trick.
Don't know why our bloody disgusting readers don't like us. No, thank you guys so much, man. That was a good episode, man. And thank you all for the support. Thanks for leaving me messages about my fucking broken up nose. Sorry if I'm 100% going to be like sniffling and shit in this. So I'm really sorry about that. I'll try better on the next one. But yeah, next week, House of Wax remake from 2005 starring the incomparable Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
So do we have anything to plug? Store.IHateHorror.com, Facebook.com/IHateHorror, IHateHorror.com. I'm on Twitter at IHateHorrorShow and Instagram and Snapchat at IHateHorror. Hit us up.
I'm at Jovi421, Boognish 1985, and Horror Show Joe.
Oh, and rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. That's the best way to support us. Word of mouth. Those are honestly the best ways you can support us. If you can't support monetarily, Patreon.com/IHateHorror. And we really appreciate everyone that does that. You guys are amazing. And thank you to all of our fans. It's crazy. Hopefully got some new tour dates coming up soon. Hitting out the West Coast maybe, if these people ever get fucking back to me. And we'll see though. But you're looking probably April, May-ish. We got some more dates. So hopefully.
That'd be rad.
Yeah. We're looking at Dallas. Pasadena.
Nice.
And there's something else I forget though. But I'm trying. We'll see what happens.
Can we hit up Inglewood?
Up and get the alligator?
Yep.
Absolutely. We need a driver to take it. People would be like, "No, I'm not."
I'll drive.
I know. I don't want that either. That's not a good idea either. All right, guys. So that's it. Thank you everyone so much again. And for Joe, this is Sean. Stay weird.
Thank you.
Adios.
Nobody's safe since mommy's little boy drowned in the lake. It's been a crazy ride. I'm obsessive compulsive. I have to make a mine. Create a shrine. Life is short and then you die. I'm gonna watch those tapes again, even though I've seen them like a million times. THS.